Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sixers Sense podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Chris, and we are recording after Game 2 of the Sixers Knicks series. We did not get to record Game 1 because of personal stuff going on, and that's okay, that happens. Probably better that we didn't, right?
Yeah, can't say I feel a lot better about this game, Lucas, but
I actually do, but let's revisit Game 1 very briefly, and then we'll get into Game 2.
all right. Yeah, 137-98, Knicks win. Don't really know what else you have to say. No,
the Sixers were tired. The Knicks were fresh. That's what happened.
Your leading scorer was Paul George with 17 points. He's really the only Sixer who looked reasonably good in this game. Knicks boat race, just 35 for Brunson, 17 for Cat, 18 for OG. And yeah, Sixers were burned out, which is understandable, honestly, given how that last series transpired. So that leads into Wednesday night. Tonight, Lucas, a 108-102 loss in New York. The Knicks now up 2-0 in the series. 26 for Maxey on 23 shots, 6 assists, and 6 turnovers. He has 9 turnovers in this series already. He had 9 in the entire Celtics series, as I just read. 17 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, 3 made threes for VJ, who looked pretty good in this game. Paul George had his moments. He scored 19 for Kelly, who was like pretty darn good, honestly.
Yeah, Kelly had a really good game.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dom Barlow.
Yeah.
6 points, 2 rebounds, steal, and 2 blocks. Box score didn't say a lot, but honestly, he kept him in there for the majority of it.
Yeah, Barlow was, I think, our best center in this game.
Honestly, you might need to go with him as the backup center moving forward.
Yeah, look, 5,016 minutes for Drummond, or for Bona, 4,015 minutes for Drummond. Barlow played really good defense, was able to switch, held Brunson down pretty well on some of those switches. So, all in all, a lot to be pleased with as far as Barlow was concerned, but a tough loss nonetheless. 24 for Anunoby, 20 and 10 with 7 assists for Cat in just 27 minutes due to some foul trouble.
Yeah.
26 for Brunson, 18 for Mikal Bridges.
Look, we said before the pod, you said that you were discouraged by this. I'm actually encouraged. We survived an OG, like a 20-point game, 20-plus points from OG, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson, 18 points from Mikal Bridges. We survived. We end up losing this game, but I think that was more of a product of Maxey playing 47 minutes, VJ playing 40 minutes, Paul George playing 43 minutes. And Grimes played 24 minutes, but let's be real. Grimes has been horrendous outside of like a game and a half for the Sixers in the playoffs. No Justin Edwards tonight. Pretty surprised on that one, to be completely honest with you. Look, the Sixers, the depth is the problem here, and we can go back to the Jared McCain trade because obviously he had a really good game 1 against Lakers. Not going to get into that, but look, the Sixers don't have enough guard depth. Look, you can't play Tyrese Maxey 47 minutes and not expect him to get tired towards the end of the game. Obviously, you missed Joel towards the end of the game in this game because you could have relied on him more for offense, slow the game down a little bit. Didn't happen here. And look, the Sixers had wide open shots, Chris. That wasn't the issue. They just weren't falling, and I think they were, yet again, and this has been the problem with Nick Nurse, especially when playoffs come around, they get tired towards the end of games because they play so much.
I don't think that's a Nick Nurse problem.
I think it is.
Problem. That's a Morey problem. Who else are you going to play? None of these guys are good enough to play in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, look, Justin Edwards has had his moments, but fair enough. And here's the other thing: we don't even have like a true point guard on the team, right? Kyle Lowry's not really a point guard. He's a mascot at this point, right? No offense to Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Look,
all those reasons that you just laid out are why I'm pretty pessimistic at this point. You're down 2-0. You're the road team in this series. You have to win one at least in New York, and you can't mess up at home if you're going to come back from this.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this was their best shot, and they were still just completely gassed in the end. Joel is dealing with 2 separate injuries, a hip and a knee. We should note that he
I thought it was
was
an
not
ankle.
playing in this game.
I thought it was his ankle.
Or maybe his ankle and his hip.
Yeah.
Seems like he'll probably be back for game 3, but Joel's not 100%, so he's banged up. Sixers are basically playing a 6.5-man rotation, as my good friend at Fansided, Chris Landers, just put it. Knicks fan who is probably having a good night tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They
Look,
just don't have
that's
the
fair.
depth. They blew their chance. This was probably their best chance. I do think they played them well in this game, and they scored 12 points in the fourth quarter.
Well, and here's where it shifted. It actually was bad that both Towns and Hockporty got into foul trouble, because then they had to go small with OG at center, and that's when both Bona and Drummond became unplayable, and you had to go to Barlow.
You mentioned like OG, Brunson, Kettle had 20 points. I don't think that's like an outlier. OG's been on fire since the end of that Hawks series. He's a really good player. Cat and Brunson are playing some of their best basketball together right now. That is a really talented team, a deeper team with just as much star power as Philly at the top, especially when Embiid's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like Philly blew their one chance in this game. They had their moments to kind of take control, and they couldn't.
But it wasn't for a lack of execution. It was just shots
Well, it
weren't
was.
falling.
They were tired. They didn't execute down the stretch. They turned the ball over 18 times.
Yeah, okay. The
Maxey
turnovers
had
are the
points
issues, yeah.
in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get less tired. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like,
yeah.
Embiid coming back will help a little bit. You can survive a few more non-Maxey minutes when Joel's healthy, but these guys have been playing 40 minutes a game all playoffs. This isn't really a product of Joel being hurt. So I really don't know if Philly has the gas left in the tank.
Look, I know we're going to get at least one at home. Hopefully you can get two. We will see. Look, and I do want to note that the Sixers in that Celtics series did not look like they were going to win it after 2 games. Let's be clear. So,
I mean, Philly had an awesome game to win in Boston.
Yeah, they did. But like, did we realistically think that they were going to win that series at that time? No, we did not. Okay.
No, but we weren't down 2-0, and I think it's clear that the Knicks are just not going to fold in the way that Boston did. They're much better equipped to take advantage of our lapses.
And look, Boston has some other issues with Jaylen Brown being the source of them by looks of it off the court. So that probably didn't help their case either. But look, at the end of the day, this was a close game. It could have been had. It absolutely sucks we could not seal the deal. Tired legs, roster construction. You could, name all the reasons why it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Now the question is, can the Sixers win Game 3 and Game 4? Yet to be determined.
Yeah, look, I agree that we were skeptical last time around and were proven wrong, and I would happily be proven wrong again, but I don't feel great. I would not bet on Philly winning both at home at this point.
No, if we don't win both at home, this series is over. Let's be clear.
Look, if Joel comes back in Game 3 and he's in peak condition and they're executing at the highest possible level and they win by a convincing margin, then I'll maybe feel a little bit better. Like maybe the magic is back, but that does not seem like something we can bank on at this point. I've seen a lot of Sixers fans on Twitter being like, why did they try to force Embiid out there in Game 1 when he clearly wasn't right and give him some rest ahead of Game 2 instead of falling into this hole? I think that's a fair question. We don't really know the exact issues with Joel and how and when they popped
we
up,
don't know what's going on. Yeah, and to be fair, he probably wanted to play. He probably wanted
Game
to
1. He did. I'm sure he wanted to play tonight too, but it's a tough situation the Sixers find themselves in. And I know you picked the Sixers to win this series. I said Knicks in 7. I'd probably amend that to Knicks in less than 7 at this current stage, but
look, it's only Game 2. We didn't think it was going to go 7 with the Celtics Sixers, so anything can happen in the playoffs. Let's see what happens. I do want to know that OG left the game and did not return towards the end. The game was already in hand for the Knicks at that point. I don't know if there's any update on his condition. I mean, I can check real quick, but I don't think so. Yeah, no, look. So at the end of the day here, game 3, we're already there. I guess it will be on Friday. Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
Friday.
another thing is we don't have like an extended break until every game is 2 days apart until game 7 if we get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Phillies don't really have a lot of time to refill the tank, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the good news is at least it's not a far away game, so they don't have to fly super long or whatever. But yeah, no,
That's
look
true.
at the end of the day, this was going to be a tougher series. We know that the Knicks were probably actually no, we thought Boston was the better team, and we were just a terrible matchup for them, especially once Joel came back. But here's the thing: the Knicks actually have a center who I know for a long time in his career they said he was horrible defensively. And like obviously he has his deficiency defensively, but against centers like Joel, Cat's not terrible defensively,
Yeah,
and he
look,
can give Joel problems offensively. So like, look, not the best matchup. So we will see what happens.
yeah, Cat and OG, like I said, are playing really their best basketball of the season right now. So
Yeah,
I think this is a case of New York catching fire at the right time and Philly running out of gas. That's my read on this
and look
game.
for a 7th seed to beat a number 2 seed to begin with. Pretty big. Like I'm not saying like give us a participation trophy, but expectations going into the playoffs were not to get to the second round for
Yeah,
most fans.
but I
So
mean, also given
yeah.
I think the state of this roster, you're really not aiming for anything else. So
Yeah.
it's a tough situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a Nick Nurse problem. Like I said, I think he had some good counters in this game. I think they defended Brunson a lot better than they did in game 1 through different looks at him. Knicks, had 13 turnovers of their own. Like the Knicks
Mm-hmm.
had some execution problems in those first 3 quarters. I think Philly did play them well in this game, but I think the depth is a problem. I'm pretty down on the Daryl Morey of it all this year at this point.
So
If we get to
I'm
the off season,
curious. I'm curious. I guess we can wait until after this series is over and if the Sixers lose. But I'm curious to see who you think should stay and go. But I don't know if you want to do that yet. I don't feel like
I
it's
mean,
appropriate to do
I've
it.
just texted my buddy Chris like if I wonder if there's a way that Nurse can stay and Daryl can go. I
I
doubt
just
it.
don't think you. No, I don't
I
think you
think it's
can
a
do that.
package deal probably, but
Yeah, probably.
I would prioritize getting Daryl out if this series continues the way it's going. Because I mean, it's just unacceptable to have nobody you can trust off the bench.
Yeah, and this
Let's
goes
see it
back to
again.
the Jared McCain trade. I mean, trading McCain, okay, whatever, but you traded him for nothing that can help you now. That was the problem. If you would have gotten, say, a veteran that can come in and help, sure, but you didn't. You just kind of left it blank, and you
Yeah,
said,
and
"Oh,
like
trade didn't materialize." Well, then you shouldn't have done the first trade in the first place
even beyond
because
that, you should have more than 7 guys you can go to. Like they should have been able to trade McCain in theory and not be this thin. So this goes back to the offseason.
I mean, well, here's the thing, Chris. When you have 3 max guys, you can only fill out the roster so much.
Look, I mean, like the Knicks also have multiple big contracts. The Knicks,
Yeah, but they only
Knicks are,
have 2 max guys. Not actually, no.
but Bridges
Jalen.
is making a lot. OG's making a lot. They have a very high salary themselves. It's the
Yeah.
same for most teams that are left in the playoffs. Like all these teams invariably are paying a lot of guys a lot of money. So I don't know if that excuse, again, if you even want to make that excuse, that is also a Daryl Morey problem. But even beyond that, you got to be able to find guys on the margins better than Daryl has.
Well, and
Aside
he's
from,
let guys on the margins go. Let's talk about it for a second. We talk
yeah,
about Julian Champagny playing right now for the Spurs. He's a starter, right? He was on a 2-way for us. You talk about Isaiah Joe, right? Not even getting to the Jared McCain of it all. You talk about let's see, who else have we let go that's done well? Charles
I,
Bassey was playing big minutes for the Warriors
yeah,
before their season.
I think those three that you mentioned are the big ones that would be having an impact on this series in theory.
Yeah.
I mean, Champagny was, as people have been pointing out very frequently, waived to make room for Mac McClung so he could participate in the dunk contest wearing a Sixers jersey. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look,
uh,
I was big on Julian Champagny. I don't know if you remember that. That was I was championing him during the preseason and everything. And by the way, the person that is doing that is Dusty Garza. He's actually a buddy of mine. Shout out you to Gusty. You made it on the Sixer Sense podcast, making for your pointing out how he used to be on the Sixers. Yeah. Yeah. No. Look. So Daryl's missed some big ones. So
yeah, like I think he's done really well in the draft, but all the in-season stuff pretty much at this point has been skewed negative. I mean, the Grimes trade was a great move in the moment, but it was kind of wasted on last season, and he didn't
he hasn't.
really do
Well,
much
outside of what Game 5
to
in
build
the
on it
Celtics
this year.
series, what has Grimes done?
So
So
yeah,
yeah. Hang on. Let me just pull up his playoff stuff. Give me this like 1 minute here, okay?
yeah, and look, I don't have a ton of issues with how Grimes played in this game or anything. I think he's been fine. I think the defense is solid, but and look, he's better than Caleb Martin.
Well, look,
But
okay. So for this series, Grimes is shooting 25% from the field, 40% from three, averaging 6 points, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, 3 fouls per game. Look, that's not great. And in the Celtics series outside, he had 2 games where he scored double digits. The rest of the time, it was pretty horrendous. In the Knicks series, so he's averaged, Celtics series, he averaged 7.1 points, shooting 44%, basically 45% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Yeah, look, that's not a guy that you can like. That's not 6 man of the year rotation. Like that's just like a rotational guy. That's not your. He's supposed to be our 6 man, and he can't. Yeah, no, it's bad, Chris. It's bad.
I agree with that assessment. Yeah,
If he was trying to get paid, he made the wrong move and bet on himself.
That's fair. But I don't even think this is his fault. I think he's overextended because again, there's just nobody else they can go to. I really the lack of depth was so apparent in that fourth quarter. The Sixers scored again 12 points in this fourth quarter. Like it was really ugly, and I really don't know how they recover from this. I hope they do. I'm willing to be proven wrong. I hope they find the fountain of youth and are able to turn it around at home. I hope it's a great crowd and they're able to keep the Knicks fans out. But
did they waive campaign for Daylon Terry? I don't see campaign on the roster.
He might not. I don't. Yeah, I don't know the specifics.
Yeah, what happened to campaign?
I don't think campaign would be saving them in this series.
Well, no, but they would be playing him at least.
I don't think they would. I don't think campaign can guard. I think.
Well, okay, hang on. Then why guard him in the regular season? Okay. Oh yeah, they did waive campaign for Daylon Terry. Okay, that's
there you go.
There we go. That was not something that was not on my bingo board. It was such a fringe move that I had to even catch it. I was just like, wait a second, what? Okay, well that goes the only other actual point guard. Okay, so that's how they. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, like I'd be interested in maybe seeing what Trendon Watford could do, but I don't really have any hopes for a secret bench savior at this point.
I mean, I think Dominic Barlow started. Hang on, how many games did he start this season?
59 games this year.
59 games. So if he started 59 games, why is he not in the rotation until like playing meaningful minutes?
It's hard to have the non-shooting guys out there in the playoffs. I think it's easier when he's a 5, and I would venture to guess that we see more of that in Game 3.
My question is, why didn't we just start off with that?
Look, even like I think Bono is a very clear upgrade at this point over Drummond. I mean, Bono
Yeah.
they won the Bono minutes. I really don't. If there is a criticism of Nick Nurse in this series, I don't understand why Drummond is sticking the way he is.
I
But
think it's just veteran. You trust veterans more.
yeah, but I think it's clear that Drummond is overmatched in this series. So
I
if I
think
can
Drummond
make
would
a
be a good
suggestion,
matchup against Robinson, but Robinson didn't play tonight.
maybe. But if I can make a suggestion, it would be like just drop Drummond the rest of the way. But I don't know if that's enough to really
No, it's not
change
going
the
to win.
outcome. To be frank.
Mm.
But yeah, look, of course I hope the Sixers win. I'll be watching Game 3 eagerly, and I know Maxi and VJ and Paul, those guys are all very gutsy. VJ and Maxi are still pretty young. VJ especially, like, could they find that extra gear and turn this around? It's definitely possible. And VJ had a really good game. Like VJ
Yeah, VJ played
deserves a
great.
ton of credit for the defense he was playing in this one. I know Brunson had like a pretty splashy stat line, but VJ was really good on both ends in this game. Hit some big shots, but yeah, I think the Sixers are approaching the end of the road here. If I had to
Yeah,
guess,
look, I do want to just give you an idea of stats wise where the top four guys are. Well, actually, just our starting five is really. So Joel's 25 points per game. Maxi's 25 points per game. Paul George is 17 and a half. VJ's basically 15. Kelly's 9.5. Grimes is 7. Like,
sure.
that's look, we can't generate enough offense, honestly. That's the real issue here if you think about it, because
Yeah, I mean, like,
what are we averaging per game for the playoffs? I mean, like, just player wise, I don't think we're, hang on, let me pull that up.
like
So like
I think Maxi, George, VJ, and Joel have all been on balance extremely good in these playoffs. I don't
no,
think
no, no,
this.
no, I'm not saying that those four have been bad, but going back to your depth point,
Yeah, I mean,
if
look,
if only
Quentin
four
Grimes.
guys are averaging double figures, you're gonna struggle, right? So
Well, it's not
just
the
to
four guys averaging double figures. It's the other guys who aren't. Is
yeah,
the
that's what
problem?
I'm saying. I'm saying if you only have four guys averaging double figures, then you're gonna struggle,
Yeah,
right? So I'm just gonna pull this up real quick. So points per game in the playoffs right now, the Sixers are, hang on, out of the 16 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hang on, sorry, I gotta count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in all points per game at 103. That is gonna make you struggle. They're only shooting 35% from 3-point line too. So look, when you only can score 103 points, it's going to be an issue, especially against a team, the Knicks, who are averaging 120 points. That's more than OKC.
yeah. Well, yeah. Like the Knicks are slightly inflated from those two kind of blowouts. I think that's not the most reliable way to gauge things, in my opinion. But I think the defense has been more of an issue in this series than the offense.
Well,
Again, and they just ran out of gas. Obviously, the offense was terrible in the fourth quarter
well
tonight.
they're
I don't
also
think
11th in offense too. They're allowing 110 points per game in the playoffs.
sure.
So
So
you're scoring 102, giving up 110. That's a differentiate of 8. Like you're not, yeah, no, that's not a way for formula for success. Honestly, I don't even know how we beat Boston. That was
well, I
surprising.
mean, look again. Like those, it's a little noisy. It's a small sample size. I wouldn't put too much stock into those numbers as they, put it maybe with a grain of sand. But Philly had those blowout losses against Boston, the blowout on game one. The other games have been extremely competitive on both ends. So I, I really think this comes down to depth, like we keep saying. I don't want to keep beating that dead horse, but I just don't think the Sixers have the bodies, even if Joel's back for game 3, and if he's back for the rest of the series, and even if he looks reasonably good. I think they're in too deep a hole. 2-0 is not historically an easy margin to come back from. It's
Well,
not 3-0. It's
to
been
be
done.
fair, we came back from 3-1, which is pretty hard to come
I
back
know,
from
but
too.
like realistically, like clearly the Knicks are better than the Celtics.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Whatever we thought going into the playoffs, it's clear that we were wrong. So, yeah, look, credit to the Knicks for that fourth quarter. Their defense was quite good. Again, the Sixers held the Knicks to 19 in the fourth. That was a really ugly quarter. It's not like the Sixers didn't put in the effort, but they just didn't have their legs on offense. And I think that's what's going to sink them. I mean, they hit, I believe, 9 threes in the first half and 4 in the second half. So they just didn't. They weren't hitting shots, and I think it's a gas in the tank thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, 2 out of the 3 guys you came off the bench are non-shooters too, so you have to deal with that as well. It's just, yeah, like you said, depth is the Sixers' problem. So I guess Nick Nurse doesn't feel comfortable with the guys that he has to play, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has their preference, right? So
I mean, look, there's no one anyone would feel comfortable playing right now. I really don't think Nurse has other options.
I mean, he played Jabari Walker a good amount, but doesn't really fix any of your problems.
Well, yeah, that was like the regular season, though. You're not
just. Oh, well, okay. We have said multiple times that when Justin Edwards has played in the playoffs, he's played pretty darn good. Feels like an appropriate time to bust.
I think he's had some shooting flurries here and there. Justin is not the best defender. Jabari is a second non-shooter in every lineup he's in, which is a problem. Those are the issues you're running into. Watford, not a good defender. Like, these are just one-dimensional players. So I think those are the issues.
Yeah, that's fair.
I struggle to blame Nick Nurse for not going deeper into a bench. That just isn't good enough, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, is there any other series you would like to talk about before we wrap things up?
I don't know. It's a little early. Not a ton of super interesting things have happened yet, and it seems clear that the Spurs are gonna, or the Thunder are gonna roll over the Lakers.
Yeah, without Luka, the Lakers don't have a chance.
I think the Cavs are probably cooked at this point. I think Detroit has found enough of a rhythm, and this is just a way better matchup for them than Orlando.
Yeah. Look,
Minnesota won game 1. They're playing right now, so we don't know the results of game 2. I think that'll be probably the best series of the 4, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that it will be. Yeah,
seems like it could go pretty far.
Let me ask you this. Let's just play hypotheticals here. If the Sixers end up losing this in 5 or 6 games, right? I don't think I don't think either one of us thinks they're going to get swept. Does the good vibes from beating the Celtics in round 1 go away, or is the proverbial monkey still on Joel's back and the Sixers' back?
I mean, I really don't think it's about Joel. I think it's about Morey.
Okay.
Like, Joel is hurt. He's done all he can so far. Like, even Paul George, Maxey, Edgecombe, all those guys have performed at, I think, an acceptable or even above acceptable level. Like, not to keep beating the dead horse, but like they just don't have the guys. I think Boston was a deeply flawed team, and we just didn't see it like we should have. But against a team as well-rounded as New York, as deep as New York, who could just pull 10 guys off the bench for 5-minute stretches here and there and not sink. I just don't. I think that is the issue. So,
well, and look, let's be clear. Back when Morey was in charge of Houston and James was at his peak, those teams were not particularly deep either. Not during the playoffs, anyway.
Yeah, but like they were deeper than this, Yeah,
they
at least had 2 or 3 guys you could really lean on that had some experience and had some moments. So
I really can only think of Daniel House as the only guy, and Eric Gordon, but that's it.
Yeah, well,
and whoever was the backup center, PJ Tucker, but he was starting, so I don't know. Yeah, no, I got you.
Morey has his bona fides. He has his reputation for a reason. I'm not going to sit here and like criticize his career holistically. I think he did a great job in Houston for the most part.
Yeah.
But I am getting to the point where if this series, like I said, goes the way it seems it's going, I'd probably be very happy to embrace a new voice in Philly.
See, that's the crazy thing, because before the playoffs began, I think me and you both were like, let's get rid of Nurse. Maybe Morey can stick, but not Nurse. And now
I really credit Nick for what he's done in these playoffs. Like, he deserves a lot of props. He's done a really good job. So I honestly would probably want to keep Nick, like I said, but I don't know if that's possible or realistic. Probably not. But
we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like if Philly gets blown out of the water in this series, there will probably be changes, because this roster is just not built to be a 7 seed that can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They gotta.
Well, I mean, how many 7 seeds get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Well, yeah, they shouldn't be a 7 seed to begin with. That's beyond everyone's control, really, because of the injuries. But I think it's worth shaking the boat a little bit, just to see if something happens with a new guy in charge. I think that's where we're at. But yeah, they need a better bench. That will be the number one focus all offseason, is can they find 2, 3, 4 more guys you can rely on in the playoffs, even for 10 minutes, around the 4 or 5 guys that you trust.
That's the real question, right? But we'll see. Well, Chris, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man.
All right. As always, everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sixer Sense podcast. Like, subscribe, follow along if you can. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube and watch us talk at you and watch some fun shorts as well. We're on TikTok at the Sixer Sense. We're on Twitter at Sixer Sense. I'm at Kline NBA. Lucas is at Coach J_20. And until next time, go Sixers.
Let's go.